without realizing or without being conscious of it, you are in the state of lack. You already have these negative feelings of, I'm not going to get it. I don't believe I'm going to get it. I don't believe I'm worthy. I don't think my prayer was heard. I don't think it's going to be answered. And the moment you think like that, it's done. It's finished. It's over. It's a done deal. You aren't going to get it. It is going to change your life, y'all. This keeps happening to you because you need a change. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bahja. If this is your first time seeing my face, then hey, welcome to the channel. And if you've been here before, like always, it is an honor and a pleasure to have you here with me. Today, we're going to be talking about emotions. Even though emotions are very uncomfortable to face, to talk about, or to admit, it's what needs to be done. Let me tell you guys why I thought it was really important for me to talk about emotions today. Your girl has been in a little bit of a slump lately. And 2 days ago, not even 2 days ago, yesterday morning when I was going to the gym, I had a little bit of a breakthrough when it comes to trying to figure out what this slump was about. On my drive to the gym, I was just thinking, I was reflecting on where my focus and my attention has been. And it's been on the fact that I haven't gotten where I wanted to be yet. And like, there's something that I've been praying for, something that I've been working for. And I was getting closer and closer and closer to it. Like the more excited I was, and I was like, oh my God, like it's coming, but like, when is it gonna come? When is it gonna come? When is it gonna come? And because I was so excited, my attention was on the lack of that thing in my life. The attention was on the fact that I wasn't there yet. And that quickly turned into negative emotions. That quickly turned into negative thoughts about what if I'm not gonna get there? Like, what if it never works out? Immediately. And all this happened subconsciously. Like none of this I was aware of while it was happening. And while I was in the car, I was like, oh my goodness, like my attention has been on the lack of this thing. And that kind of slowed down my progress. It not only killed my vibe, not only did it kill my vibe for a few days, but it also kind of slowed down that progress. And the moment that I recognized that, I was able to switch my narrative like this. I was like, literally to myself, I even recorded a little voice memo on my phone to kind of like remind myself. It's kind of like journaling, but on my phone. And so I was like, Bahja, like this moment right now that you are in is a very, very important part of your journey. Like, yes, you haven't gotten there yet, but the reason why you haven't gotten there yet is because you are not the person yet. You are not going to be able to receive it until you have the skills, until you have the knowledge, until whatever is in this moment that I'm meant to learn is learned. You know what I mean? This is the foundation of that building, and it cannot, like, we can't skip over this part. If we skip over the foundation, everything is going to crumble. And that just made me feel better instantly. Switching my narrative, switching the way that I was thinking made me feel better instantly. It made me more motivated, more inspired. And just like that, I was able to very quickly get out of that negative mindset. What I noticed and what I've recognized, not just this time around, but every single time that this has happened, right when I was back in my alignment and I felt good and I felt positive about my goals and I felt like I am going to reach this is just an important part of my process. When I came back to that and I was resting in that knowing, things started to pick back up again. Numbers started to go up again. Like that happens every single time. And I was sitting there thinking, when do we become this girl? When do we become this girl? Because there was a point in time where I would just keep feeding the negative thoughts and feeding, and it would kill my vibe for weeks and months. And then I would tell myself on top of that, no, you're not supposed to think like this. You're supposed to think positively. And that made me feel guilty continuing that loop of negative emotions and a negative cycle. To see myself overcome negative emotions and negative thoughts that quickly, and to be able to recognize and change my narrative that fast, I was like, hold on, I need to put the girls on. And so today we're going to be talking about emotions. As ugly and as uncomfortable they are, it is going to be the most important thing on your journey to greatness. It's going to be the most important thing overall. There's nothing stronger than a person with emotional intelligence. There's nothing more powerful than a person who can control their emotions. We're going to be talking about why this is important, how it impacts your life, how to break the cycle of negative thoughts and negative emotions. And if you don't even know where to begin, I got you, okay? And then I'm going to be giving you practical steps and things that you can do every single day to build that muscle, because just like anything else, it takes practice, it takes time, and it takes effort. Okay, let's get into the video. Since you guys are watching my channel, I'm going to assume you like self-improvement, self-development. And a lot of times we're told to just think positive. Think positively, think well, think good. And that is very important. It is very important. It's important to have a positive attitude. It's important to have a positive mindset. It's important. However, it can be so detrimental to you, especially when you are so deeply attached to negative emotions because of your circumstances, because of your experiences. And that's kind of how it was for me. So when I heard, oh, just think positive or just be positive, I felt guilty when I felt negative. I felt guilty when I felt down. I felt guilty when I felt bad. And it just made things worse. We were just spiraling more into negative thoughts. And you know, when you get like irritated when your friend tries to give you like a motivational speech when you're feeling down, it just triggers you in some way. And that's just kind of how I felt towards just think positive. I was like, how the heck am I supposed to just think positive? Today, I'm going to give you guys the solution that has helped me, which is gradually shifting your vibrational state. And that's just a fancy way of saying gradually changing that emotional baseline, how you feel on the regular, how you feel on the daily, how you feel overall. Why is this important for you guys to understand? Why do I need the girls to get it? Because if you guys are here, you guys are trying to build something better for yourselves, build something greater, dream bigger. This is going to be the most important thing ever. And the reason being is because a negative mental attitude blocks your blessings, okay? So to get what you want, you have to maintain a positive attitude towards it. I often see comments, things like, I've waited so long, but still nothing. I've prayed for it and I haven't gotten anything. I'm losing hope. I don't think this is ever going to work out for me. I don't think that, this is going to work. Like, I've been trying at this for so long, it's just not working. I never really know how to respond to those comments because I feel like it's very harsh to say the reason why you're not getting it is because where's your attention? Where's your attention? Your attention is on the fact that it's not here yet. Your attention is on the fact that, you're not receiving the thing. Your attention is on how long it's taking. Without realizing or without being conscious of it, you are in the state of lack. You already have these negative feelings of, I'm not going to get it. I don't believe I'm going to get it. I don't believe I'm worthy. I don't think my prayer was heard. I don't think it's going to be answered. And the moment you think like that, it's done. It's finished. It's over. It's a done deal. You aren't going to get it. And so as badly as you want that thing, you're kind of repelling it by having a negative attitude towards it, by thinking of it negatively, by being impatient. I hate to be the one in the comments to reply, you need to be patient. Right? You need to have a positive attitude. You need to believe that it's already yours. It's already yours, right? It's already yours. It's already on the path. It's already going to come. You just have to focus on your growth. You just have to focus on where you are right now, the skills that you need to build. And it's really hard to do that sometimes, especially when you have a negative mental attitude. And so in order to have that patience and that gratitude and that belief that it is already yours, we need to start moving your emotional state of being to a more positive one. Even if it's not happening, even if, your circumstances are not necessarily aligned with where you want to be, being emotionally intelligent, being in control of your emotions, having a positive attitude is recognizing your impatience and then shifting your focus. This is so important because to get what you want in life, to receive the thing that you're praying for, to achieve the goal, to attract beautiful things, you need to learn how to understand and then control your emotions. You need to understand how to shift your focus. You need to understand and learn how to control your thoughts. What is in your heart is the truth. Up here, consciously, you can be thinking, I am grateful. I do believe that God is going to give me whatever I want. But in your heart, you feel completely different. You don't feel grateful. You don't feel like you're going to get what you want because there's still that negative emotion and that negative belief of, what if my prayer wasn't heard? Why don't I have it yet? Up here, consciously, you can be thinking, oh, I am grateful. But until you feel it in your heart and you are genuinely a grateful person, you will not be able to experience the benefit of gratitude. The truth is in your heart. The truth is in the way that you feel. The truth is in what you believe. You must become someone who's grateful. And to become is for your mind and your body and your heart to all be in the same state. Meaning you have to think, but also feel abundant, feel successful, feel grateful, regardless of your circumstances, regardless of whether you have the thing yet or not. Then once you're in that state, then can you experience it in your reality. And so if you're wondering why you're not getting the thing yet, honey, what are you focused on? What are you thinking about? You have to get real and you have to pay attention and ask yourself, what am I focused on? Do I really think I can have this thing? If the answer is no, and be genuine. If the answer is no, that's your starting place. It's what limiting beliefs are holding me back. What do I believe about myself? What is my self-image? You really have to try to figure out how you feel about the situation, how you feel about the thing. That will tell you the truth, whether or not you are aligned with the thing or not, whether or not you are on the right track or not. I feel like I'm always quoting Napoleon Hill on my channel, but he should be hitting sometimes. He said, success is achieved and maintained by those who keep trying with a mental positive attitude. The goal is not to be happy all the time. Like, you have to be on some sort of drug to be happy all the time. The goal is not to be happy all the time, but the goal is to have a positive mental attitude. Your current mental attitude is based on your current emotions. So what emotions keep reoccurring in your life. The baseline is basically your baseline of emotions. It's your state of being, and it stems from past experiences, beliefs, and values. Why do I want you to understand this? Why is this so crucial? It's because choosing a positive mental attitude will attract good and positive things to you. So whatever your state of being is, whatever state your heart is in, is what you're going to experience in life. That is just that on that. But if you have a negative mental attitude, it repels all the good things. So you're literally blocking your blessings. When you learn to take control of your emotions, you empower yourself to shape your life and like your experiences and your outcomes to one that aligns with your goals and aspirations. Okay, we all have goals and aspirations. If your goals and aspirations are to be successful and that's like just like what you put your focus on. So if your focus is on being successful and abundant and happy and grateful and joyful and living a fruitful life, even when you are facing challenges, even when you're facing setbacks, even when, you might not be feeling the best, maybe you're not feeling it, you can still consciously choose to continue embodying that successful, abundant version of yourself. And that will lead you to achieving it ultimately. Because like Napoleon Hill said, success is achieved and maintained by those who keep trying with a positive mental attitude. So even when things are not going right, even when you don't necessarily feel the best or whatever, you keep trying with that positive mental attitude. It's not about denying your negative emotions. It's not about denying them and saying they don't exist and all of that and practicing toxic positivity. It's acknowledging them and consciously choosing to focus on the positive things instead. And so just like how I did yesterday, I acknowledged that I wasn't feeling the best. I acknowledged that I was in this negative state. Right? I acknowledged it. I recognized why it was happening. And then I consciously chose, right? Because I could have just dwelled in it. I could have been like, oh, well, things aren't happening for me. But I consciously chose to think, well, Behja, this is a part of your journey. You know what I mean? Like, you have to put in the work. You have to continue getting better. You have to continue growing. Because that is what the successful, abundant version of myself would do. You know what I mean? And so it's continuing to try, acknowledging that you don't feel too hot. I'm not feeling too well. Like, I'm not liking this. Things are getting hard. Like, whatever it is, acknowledge it. But then continue to do the other things anyway. Continue to move the needle anyway. Continue to do the things that will allow you to grow anyway. And that will help you create a positive mental environment. Soon enough, you will see your surroundings, your circumstances change and shift to what matches your inner state. Your outer world is literally only a reflection of your inner state, okay? And so the more that you keep that inner state positive, the more that you keep feeling abundant and grateful and successful, the more that you hold that up, I promise you your outer world will reflect it. And so to get to that point where you can do it naturally and quickly and like pick yourself back up, get back into the good vibes, it all comes down to understanding your emotions and then gradually raising your vibrations to a higher emotional state. Okay, a higher emotional state of being. You want that baseline to come from just negativity, and we want to raise it. Vibrations is really just your conscious awareness of your feelings, okay? So it's basically just your feelings. We say the vibe is off. The vibe is feeling weird. That's because we're feeling weird. We're feeling off. Things don't feel the same, okay? So that's what vibration means. So just putting that out there. Let's kind of understand the cycle. Why do we continue to be in these negative emotional cycles? Why do we continue, girl? Because I was stuck for a while. I couldn't see past my negative emotions. Forget about dreaming big and having ambitions and, all of this. Like, I just wanted to feel better. That was the beginning of my journey. I just want to feel better. And so the reason why we continue in this cycle is because we're habitual beings. The way that you thought and felt yesterday is how you're going to think and feel today. And it's how you're going to think and feel tomorrow as well. The more that you practice an emotion, the more that you practice a way of thinking and feeling, it's going to drag on. Y'all know when something happens in your life, something just triggers you, something happens where someone pisses you off or something like that. You go home, you tell your mom, oh, this girl pissed me off today. It creates that emotion again. You feel like you're there. You feel like this girl just pissed you off. And then you call your friend the next day and you're like, oh my God, you won't believe it. This girl pissed me off this day. And then that brings back that emotion. And we just have this natural need to continue thinking about this thing, and it just like stays on our mind. Before you know it, 2 weeks was ruined by a 10-second interaction with some girl who pissed you off. Sometimes unconsciously, this goes on for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, like subconsciously, right? Something that triggered you, something that happened to you when you were 10 years old could still be ruining your vibe till this day. And so that's what I mean by we're habitual beings. Like, we function on habits. And that's why it's very important to understand our emotions and like to stay in touch and be sensitive with our emotions, is to make sure that we're not creating these loops that we don't want, that give us results that we don't want. The way you think and feel now can stem back to your childhood. It can come from experiences that you had when you were younger, or it can even come from the people that you were around during your upbringing. As we experience life, we tend to make habits of feelings and behaviors as well. People kind of get lost in the sauce and they start to identify with it by saying, I'm just a negative person. Like, I see this in my comments all the time. I'm just a negative person. I'm just an angry person. I'm just a bitter person. You are not those things. You just practice them so many times that it's become a part of your vibrational pattern. It's become a part of that emotional, baseline of yours. And this is where it gets even worse, because it's now a part of your vibrational state and your emotional state of being. You are going to experience more reasons to be mad, to be angry, to be bitter. Like, you are going to find more reasons. You're going to have more experiences where you're going to feel angry, where you're going to feel mad, where you're going to feel jealous, where you're going to feel bitter. And then that's just going to reaffirm to you, oh, I am just the person who's angry. I am just a person who's bitter and mad and all of that. Which leads me to my next point, which is, the reason why the cycle continues is because you experience more situations that affirm that. When you have like something happens and it just kind of ruins your day, and then there's like 10 more things that happens that day that just irks your soul, that just irritates you. Your coffee spills and now you're just fuming. It just adds on to the fire. That's kind of how life is. You will experience situations and circumstances. They will come your way. It's kind of funny how God works, because He will continue to bring you those similar situations, similar experiences, and until you consciously choose that you are not angry anymore and you consciously choose to show up differently, until you choose to stop reacting the way that you've always reacted, until you choose to bite your tongue when you would normally cuss this person out, until you choose to respond with compassion instead of hatred, you will continue to experience that same situation again and again and again and again. And then you'll have this belief of, oh, my life just sucks. Bad things just happen to me. Blah, 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 blah. No, you just have to show up differently. You just have to choose differently to get to the state of being that attracts good experiences, that attracts good people, that attracts good things and beautiful things. You have to start creating new experiences for yourself by thinking and feeling differently. That is it. That is all. You cannot wait for your circumstances to change, to feel grateful, to feel happy, to feel content, to feel fulfilled, to be a good person, to have a good positive outlook on life, to have a good positive attitude, to be optimistic. You cannot wait for your circumstances to change, because your circumstances will not change unless you change the state of your heart. Until you change what is within you, it's not going to change. And I'm telling you this right now, it is not going to change. You're going to continue to experience more of the same until you consciously choose differently, to think and feel differently. If you can't, things are always going to be the same. When things are not going well for you, that is when you have to be more grateful. That is when you have to be the most grateful. That is when you have to truly hold on to that positive mental attitude, because God is testing you to see if you are ready for the bigger, better thing. There's this famous saying, the bigger the dream, the greater the challenges. And that is so true. These challenges are meant to make you stronger. It's meant to test if you can move forward no matter how you feel. That's kind of how God tests you to see if you are the person who unlocks that next level of your life. Your emotions, being able to understand them, being able to control them, being able to shift your focus and your attention is the most powerful thing that you can do. It is going to change your life, y'all. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. So stick with me. I know what it feels like to think that you can't change because you're so stuck in a negative loop. I know that it's hard to believe when you are in such a negative state that there is something better out there for you, that there is something great. Like, it's hard to grasp that, but I promise you it is possible. While you try to shift your mindset and your mental state and your emotional state of being, you are going to fall back into those old feelings. There might be a song that plays inside of Starbucks that literally takes you back to those moments where you were your lowest and those feelings just come back, which this might be a true story. It might not. But you have to be able to recognize that these are old emotions. This is, from my old past experiences. And if I want to move forward and create new experiences in this moment, I have to, of course, acknowledge those emotions, accept them, but you have to also release them. You have to recognize that this is just a trigger. This isn't real. I am not in that place that I was a year ago anymore. I'm not that girl anymore. And you have to remind yourself constantly, like a baby. Yeah. When a baby falls and he's learning to walk, you don't beat him up and say, "You idiot, you're never going to learn how to walk." No, you're like, get up and try again. That's exactly how it's going to be for you, okay? Science backs this up. Science backs it up. Science rules. Okay, so if you don't believe me, science backs it up. Neuroplasticity teaches us that you can change and create a new level of mind. Okay, we're using big words here, so let me bring it down. Neuroplasticity refers to the brain's ability to change and adapt and rewire itself to new experiences and new things that you've learned. And so basically this means that if you practice thinking and feeling differently and you create a new experience for yourself by behaving differently, you will reshape your neural pathways in your brain. That is how those cycles are built. That is how that loop of thinking and feeling the same every single day and it becoming a part of who you are and your identity, that is how it's built. But that's how we're going to use it to build a new experience, to build a new way of being and feeling and all of that. And so, yes, it is possible. I know it don't feel like it, but if you just follow through and you do what I tell you to do, I promise you, you're going to feel like that girl, that girl, that girl. Oh, okay, we're doing too much. Okay, let's try to understand emotions together. No emotion is good or bad. Okay, no emotion is inherently good or bad. But oftentimes we're told that sadness, fear, frustration, anger, bitterness, jealousy, all those things are bad. It is appropriate to feel those emotions in certain situations in your life. We're gonna throw away this idea that emotions are good or bad. Instead, we're gonna focus on what an emotion is telling us, what an emotion is guiding us towards or guiding us away from, what an emotion is teaching us. Controlling your emotions and being emotionally intelligent is learning how to respond in a social situation. It's learning how to respond to circumstances without compromising your morals and your values, without compromising your goals, without compromising your standards, and without compromising who you want to become. Not only does it serve as a guidance system, so your emotions tell you whether you're aligned with your goals or not. Your emotions tell you whether or not you're moving in the right direction or not. It'll help you reach your goals by understanding, yes, this feels hard. Yes, I feel frustrated. Yes, I feel uncomfortable, but we have to do these things anyway. And so just understanding them, recognizing them, being able to express them and listen to them and listen to yourself will really help you reach your goals quicker and faster and more efficiently, okay? Like we said, emotions aren't good or bad, but depending on the situation, they could either be useful or not useful. If one of your goals is to, be healthy, reach your goal weight, whatever your goal is, one day you're gonna wake up and you're not gonna feel like going to the gym. Is that feeling useful for if you wanna lose weight? that feeling ain't useful, you're gonna get up and you're gonna go anyway, and you're gonna feel a lot better after you go. So sometimes that feeling is useful, sometimes it's not useful. Depending on who you want to be and the life that you want to lead, being emotionally intelligent is recognizing an emotion and saying, is this emotion helpful or unhelpful when it comes to being who I want to be, when it comes to moving towards the goals that I want to move towards? Let's talk about practical steps that you can take to gradually raise your vibrations, to gradually build that positive mental state for yourself. So like we said, we need to think differently, feel differently, and create new experiences by acting differently. That is our base. But you really have to acknowledge where you are now. You have to start where you are. You cannot jump from being in this 15-year loop of thinking negatively to being grateful, la-di-da-di-da, life is great, everything is well. This took me such a long time, and this is not to discourage you. The growth is really where you find that happiness and that fulfillment and that contentment, okay? So knowing that you are moving towards something, even when it gets difficult, will make the time pass like this, okay? It won't make you miserable, I swear, but it's gonna help you so much in the long run. You have to recognize where your starting point is, because yes, in a lot of my videos, I talk about, building this vision for yourself, figuring out who you want to be, setting goals and doing all these things. But the truth is, if you are coming from this place of just being stuck in this negative loop and this negative cycle, you cannot see greater than that. You will not be able to reach feelings and thoughts that are, out of your reach. I couldn't think of being where I am today at that moment. All I could want for myself is to feel better. That's it. That's all. That was my only goal. You guys know this, okay? If you've watched my other videos, of course. That was my starting point. And so you need to be real with yourself and ask yourself, where am I starting right now? What is the closest thing to me that I can reach for that's better, okay? And so for me, it was, I want to feel better. I want to be more happy and less sad. That's it. That sounds really depressing, but that's all it was. I was reaching for the small changes that I could make, right? To create those new experiences for myself. So I started to think, what can I do to be better? I started to think, and you can't obviously think from where you are to, you know what I mean? Like, you really can't see that for yourself yet. And so it was, where can I start? And for me, it was a small act of kindness every day. This is so funny. Respond differently in certain situations in my life. I recognized that there were certain things that triggered me. So I was like, how can I respond differently? How can I remove myself from this situation? And those were like the closest things to me that I can reach for better, to feel better. Okay. And then 3 things that I was grateful for every single day. And then I started journaling. Like, that was the little change that led me to thinking bigger. Once I got to that point and I started to feel better and I started to create these new experiences for myself, I was like, hey, I can do this. I can think bigger for myself. I can reach bigger things. I can try to grow. Like, it was really just my starting point. That is what you have to do. It's hard to just tell someone, oh, just think positively, because it's really difficult to do. And so your starting point might be, I just want to feel better. I just want to be less sad. I just want to be more comfortable with myself. That was my starting point, and that's okay. That's okay. And now I'm like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to do this next big thing and I want to do this and I want to reach this. Before, I couldn't think of that. I couldn't think that far. It made me feel even worse to think bigger than I could. Like, it really just made me feel worse about myself. And so it was like, where am I starting? What can I do to start bettering myself? And that built confidence. That's when you start building that evidence portfolio that you can be better, that you can do better, that there is better out there for you. That is step number 1, is become conscious of your current state. And an exercise that you can do is observe how you feel when you wake up. Observe how you feel when you go about your day. Observe how you feel when you're going to sleep. And I really recommend to journal. And you guys always ask me, Betcha, how do you journal? How do you journal? Girl, you just get a book and you write. That's it. Like, I don't even think there needs to be a tutorial for how to journal, but just write. You can use this exact technique. Write in the morning, how do I feel? In the evening, how do I feel? Throughout your day, how do I feel? Pay attention to what triggers you throughout your day. And I know you have your phone on you all the time. In your notes app on your phone, write down things that trigger you throughout the day. pay attention to yourself and your behavior. Pay attention to how other people affect your mood. Pay attention to how certain things affect your mood, okay? Pay attention. Also, pay attention to the thoughts that you entertain, because a lot of times it is the thoughts that we entertain that create those feelings that we feel throughout our day. That's going to create results because you're going to act from that state. God literally brings you more circumstances that confirm that for you. And I truly believe that those circumstances come to you so that you can wake up, so that you can recognize that, you're missing out on opportunities, or you're doing all these things, or this keeps happening to you because you need a change. And so I think, I keep saying like it's kind of messed up, but I think it's beautiful because sometimes it takes that like push that really wakes you up and you're like, oh my God, it was me all along. Step number 2 is choose differently. Create an image. Okay, this is where you have to really learn to use your imagination. We always use it, but just unconsciously or for the wrong reason. We always imagine the worst case scenarios and it makes us feel like crap. We want to use that same ability of imagining to imagine something better. So what you can do is, from where you are today, what would you like to experience in your life? What would you like to experience moving forward? So you can ask yourself, how do I want to feel? So now that you recognize what you are feeling, how would I like to feel? I would like to feel more happy. I would like to feel more grateful. I would like to feel more put together. I would like to feel more confident in myself. How would you like to feel? The things that trigger you throughout your day, how would you like to respond to those things? How would you like to respond? Literally rehearse it in your head. Okay, so step number 3 is begin to practice and create those new experiences. Practice, okay? This is where things get interesting. It's kind of fun. You really just have to start showing up differently. Every night, set the intention of, this is how I want to show up tomorrow. This is how I want to feel tomorrow. This is how I want to carry myself tomorrow. This is how I'm going to do things differently tomorrow. That girl that pisses me off at work, tomorrow I'm going to just not even look her way. And you know what? I'm not going to let her get to me. I'm not going to let her irk my soul. I'm not going to let her irritate me. I'm not going to let her kill my vibe. Period. And so do things differently than you normally would, and then keep track of how that made you feel. Keep track of how that either, made your day better, made your day more exciting, made you feel better. Like, really just document it and figure out, is this like, how did this make me feel? Okay, step number 4, which yes, I did make it a step because it is going to happen. It is pick yourself back up every single time you fall back into old habits, back into old ways of feeling, back into old ways of thinking. Okay, it is absolutely normal. It is so normal, okay? Things that you've practiced again, and like I said, we're habitual beings. You've practiced this again and again and again and again, that it has become natural, that it has become automatic, that it's become memorized, and it is a part of your state of being, okay? So when you make any type of change, you will fall back into those old habits. But now that you know, you have to be a little bit smarter. And so instead of thinking, oh, this is all I'll ever be, this is, I can never change. Remember, we learned that change is possible. But you have to be a little bit smarter, and you have to let yourself know that it is normal and it is okay, instead of making yourself feel guilty, because guilt blocks growth. Okay? And so journal it out. Journaling has literally been the best thing that has ever happened in my life. Like, I'm not even joking. It makes me feel better every single time. So journal it out. Be honest. How do you feel? Even if you do feel guilty, even if you feel shitty about yourself, even if you feel like an idiot, write it down, but then tell yourself that it is okay and that it is normal. By doing that, you are pulling yourself out of this negative emotion and reaching for relief. Okay, this feeling of relief is what you want to look for, not necessarily to go from feeling sad or feeling bad about yourself to feeling great and amazing and confident and all of that. No. Just look for that feeling of relief. And sometimes it's by telling yourself it is okay. I want to share with you guys this journal entry. I'll put it on the screen, but this journal entry basically where I was feeling like crap, and I told myself, like, it was like me talking about how I felt like crap, and then it was a letter from me to myself. So I started writing from me to myself. Bahja, it is okay. You had a long day, or you had a long week. It's okay to relax. It's okay to take a break. You have to remind yourself of that. And then you have to just get up and try again. And that's just all it is. Like I said, you don't tell the baby you'll never learn how to walk. He just gets up and he tries again. And you let him, because you know that he just needs to get up again and again and again and again and again. And that's exactly what you need to do. What will happen when you practice this? You will gradually unlock a new level of mind. You will elevate your emotional state of being, which then allows you to reach for bigger things. As I practice raising my vibrations, I was able to think of bigger things for myself. And that is because your beliefs about yourself changes. Your belief about life changes, okay? That is what's been holding you back, is just those beliefs about yourself. When you start to make small changes, your self-image will change. You will be more confident and you will believe that you can achieve bigger things. And so it really just starts with those small things. Just to kind of wrap things together, I want to tell you guys what you're going to do when you are in a negative headspace. It doesn't matter how far along you are on your journey. It doesn't matter how successful you are. It doesn't matter how emotionally intelligent you are. Hard times are going to come. You're going to fall into difficult times. It's literally a part of life. And so, of course, I'm going to put you guys on to some things that you can do when you are in those moments of just feeling negative, feeling stuck. The best way to pull yourself out of a negative mental headspace, a negative place, is just to reach for a feeling of relief, okay? You don't have to feel good necessarily. You don't have to feel happy. You don't have to feel joy. You don't have to feel love. What can you do right now to just feel a sense of relief? When you are going through changes, when you are growing, when you are evolving, things get a little hard. And sometimes just the fact that you are changing and evolving is the hard, because our brains are resistant to change. It's uncomfortable. It's weird. And so you'll fall into a slump, all of that. But this is how you're going to break free out of all that, okay? Number one, in moments where you're feeling down, pay attention to how you are thinking. What were you thinking about that had you thinking like that had you feeling like this? What has your attention been on? What has your focus been on? And from there, how can we reevaluate that? How can we flip that? How can we change the narrative? Choosing a different thought will always create a different emotional response. Sometimes you can change that narrative or change those thoughts by educating yourself on it. Another thing that you can do is do something to make yourself feel a little bit better. For me, it's prayer, or making wudu, prayer, deep breathing. Oh my goodness, this helps me so much. It helps me so much. Going on a walk. Now that it's cold, I can't really do that, but just going on a walk. Maybe it's sitting by yourself, getting away from everyone. Maybe it's working out. Maybe it's yoga. Maybe it's stretching. Do something that will calm your nerves, for starters. Just like do something that kind of calms you down. Yeah, just create a little vibe for yourself. If you need rest, give yourself rest. Just do something to make yourself feel a little bit more relaxed. And then I'm always going to recommend this, but journaling it out. I swear journaling will always help you, especially when it's a letter from yourself or if it's a letter from your future self. What this does is it pulls you out of your emotion and it gives you a little bit of perspective. And so when you write from your future self, when you write from yourself who's already successful, who has already hit the goals, who has already achieved things, she will tell you, chill, relax. It is important to feel these emotions. Whatever you're going through, whatever caused those emotions, she will help you get perspective on that. And it's so weird how it works, but it definitely will make you feel better. Even if you're, writing down how you're pissed off, whatever, you're cussing on the paper, whatever you need to do, just write it out on paper. It helps you kind of get it off of your chest. Sometimes you're feeling negative because of external factors. So maybe it's your circumstances, maybe it's what someone else did to you. You can change your narrative when you feel negative about that. Number one, you are not in control of these things. Recognize that. Remind yourself of that. That's what you have to do, is just remind yourself of certain things. And sometimes when you are in those states of just feeling negative, it's hard to remind yourself of things. It's hard to remember the good. It's hard to, and that's why you have to really calm yourself down first. That's why you have to accept it and be okay. And just like say, okay, Bahja, it's okay to feel like this. Acknowledge that this is out of your control. You can never control what another person does, but you can control how it affects you. Your emotions are the most important thing to you. And in order for you to build your dream life, which is something that I want y'all to do, you have to be able to stay aligned with that vision. You have to have a positive attitude towards your vision and your goals. So learning how to understand your emotions and learning how to control them is going to be really helpful, because you think, right? Up here, you can tell yourself up here, but until you feel it and you are in this state of being and you feel successful and you feel grateful and you feel just abundant, that is when you will experience it in your life. If you don't feel that way and you feel bad, right? You feel negatively toward your goals. You don't feel worthy. You don't feel like you can achieve it. You are going to be pushing them away. You are going to be repelling all the things that you're praying for. You have to become by being ready, by being strong in your emotions, by holding it down, okay? And God will bless you endlessly. Like I talked about in my video about how failure is all in your head, the way that you think about your circumstances is how you think of God. And if you think of God that way, He will show up in your life that way. And so you really have to hold your thoughts down. And so I really hope that this video was helpful. I hope you guys found it beneficial. Like always, if you found it helpful, share it with a friend, share it with whoever you feel like needs it. I truly wish you guys nothing but the best. I pray for your success. I pray for your growth. And I'm so happy to be a part of so many of your guys' journeys. And thank you guys for being a part of mine. I love you so much, and I hope to see you next time.